This is Ambedkarite Marxist, an Ambedkarite with Marxist-Leninist characteristics. Marxism, and by extension communism, was quite influential in the early 1900s. It was one of the major streams of political thought dominant throughout the world, and in India as well. The success of the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia by Lenin only emboldened this ideology and made it more influential. The influence was seen in India when the Communist Party of India was founded in 1925 at Kanpur. However, this party was loosely organized and many Marxist-leaning groups emerged all over India, including the Jugantar group in Bengal, a Leninist group formed in Bombay led by S.A. Dange, more famously the Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, which had members such as Bhagat Singh and Chandrasekhar Azad, and later on the All India Forward Bloc led by Subhash Chandra Bose. During this period, communism was outlawed by the British, and the communist parties had to work in secret. They initially sought to work within the Workers' and Peasants' Party, which itself was part of the Indian National Congress. However, this did not work out as tensions rose between the radical leftist elements within the Communist Party who were against Congress's Gandhian ideology of non-violent resistance. All this changed when World War II broke out. Cooperation between the British Empire and the Soviet Union led to the legalization of communist parties in India. Finally, the CPI was no longer an underground party. After independence, there was a lot of chaos and confusion within the party. The party wasn't sure which route to take, whether it should participate electorally or it should continue the armed struggle. The consensus wasn't clear. In several areas, the party led armed struggles against local monarchs, such as insurgencies which took place in Tripura, Telangana, and Kerala. The most important rebellion took place in Telangana against the Nizam of Hyderabad. The communists built up a people's army and controlled an area with a population of 3 million. The rebellion, however, was brutally crushed and the party abandoned the policy of armed struggle. The Communist Party General Secretary B.T. Ranadive, who supported this rebellion, was kicked out and denounced as a left adventurist. In 1952, independent India had its first ever election, and the Indian National Congress won a landslide victory, winning 364 out of 489 seats and 45% of the total votes. Nehru became the Prime Minister of India with overwhelming support. CPI, however, was one of the leading opposition parties in the Lok Sabha. Under the leadership of Nehru, India developed close relations and a strategic partnership with the Soviet Union. The Soviet government consequently advised the Indian Communist Party to be moderate in their criticism towards the Nehru government and to assume a supportive role towards Nehru's government. However, this did not sit well. Large sections of the Indian Communist Party were against the Soviets telling them what to do. They argued that India's class struggle could not be put on a back burner for the sake of guarding the interests of the Soviet Union. Tensions within the CPI were high and factions were emerging. In the general elections in 1957, the CPI emerged as the largest opposition party. In 1957, the CPI also won the state elections in Kerala. This was the first time an opposition party won control over an Indian state. E.M.S. Namboodiripad became the Chief Minister of Kerala, who was member of the CPI. Things again got heated up when a major event happened in the socialist world. Stalin passed away. Nikita Khrushchev came to power as the General Secretary of the Soviet Union. Nikita Khrushchev was not a fan of Stalin and saw Stalinism as too radical a form of Marxism. He publicly denounced Stalin and implemented a policy of de-Stalinization. This, however, did not sit with Mao Zedong, the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, who himself was a big supporter of Stalin. This led to ideological differences between USSR and China, leading to the sino-soviet split. China and the USSR were no longer friends. The split had ripple effects all over the world, including India, where the anti-USSR faction of the Communist Party split away to form the Communist Party of India Marxist, or CPIM. While CPI still followed the Soviet path, CPIM wanted to follow the Chinese principle of mass party with a class line. However, they weren't explicitly Maoists and still participated in elections. This changed again when a peasant revolt broke out in Naxalbari in West Bengal in 1967. The insurgency was led by hardline district-level CPIM leaders such as Charu Majumdar and Kanu Sanyal. The hardliners within the CPIM saw the Naxalbari uprising as a spark that would ignite the Indian socialist revolution. The Naxalbari movement was violently repressed by the West Bengal government, in which CPIM was a member of the ruling coalition. This caused a split within the CPIM as hardliners rallied around to create CPIML, which means Communist Party of India Marxist-Leninist. This party was the main party behind the Naxalite movement and was later outlawed by the Indian government. So what we have now is a brief history of the Communist Party of India and how it split. There are many details I could not cover due to time constraints, but feel free to tell me in the comment section if you wish to see more of these videos. This is Ambedkarite Marxist signing off. Please consider subscribing the channel if you like these kinds of videos. Thank you.